let's take all the people at the end of 2024, right? Like me, who see what you're describing a lot. What happens, Robin, is something called hubris, which is thinking you can't be defeated, right? And here's what happens in Bitcoin. You get into Bitcoin, and if you are like me, where you get in at a time that is just it just happens to be the right timing, right? It does that we have so little control. We think we know what we're doing, and the difference between an ingenious and an idiot is just a random 2 or 3 month period where somebody bought this time, somebody bought that time. The reality is, like you said, it's all about holding something long that you would hold for the rest of your life, that you could buy at a value, right? Because what happens with something like Bitcoin is you'll buy some Bitcoin, and then let's say you're in it for a couple years, and all of a sudden you 4 or 5x what you put in, you feel like a genius. You're like, oh my God, I'm like the greatest investor in the world. 5x? Oh my God. Okay. So now that I know I'm a genius, what can I do to make that even more amplified? Because obviously I know what I'm doing. Right. And then you go and you get yourself in trouble by doing exactly what you said. You sell the asset that perhaps you just should just stick with it. And then you start getting into something else because, again, you think that you're a genius and you actually know what you're doing when the asset that you had was perfect. And, to answer your question, absolutely. I think all the people um, who were holding Bitcoin at the end of 2025, or I'm sorry, end of 2024, and now they look at their portfolio, whatever they left Bitcoin for, right? The Bitcoin is definitely worth more than the position that they went to. Almost guarantee that. Not to say that that position might one day catch back up to Bitcoin or outrun it, which is kind of the whole degenerate leverage theory that you play with. But you're so right, Robin. And you know what? I'll add into that I think that the most successful way to invest, at least the times that I've done well, is look for value and look for buying something that you would hold the rest of your life, right? And Bitcoin right now, what I used to do is when I love to trade stocks, is I would look for a stock that was at the same price or lower than what it was, say, a year before, 2 years before, 3 years before, 4 years before, 5 years before. That was also a quality asset, right? So an example is literally Bitcoin right now. I mean, I think the price this morning is it's 69,000 a coin. You can essentially get into Bitcoin right now in 2026 for roughly the same price as it was, what, 5 years ago, almost close to 5 years. You're saving 5 years time where you didn't miss any of that time. Insane value, man, to be able to buy an asset that is at the same price as it was 5 years ago and not have missed any of that time, other than maybe if you held it now, you have long-term capital gains. On top of that, so that's the value perspective. On top of that, of course, it's a value you would and should hold for the rest of your life, so long as you don't let the hubris get to you or the greed, or it really depends on, again, how much are you in the fiat standard and how much are you in the Bitcoin standard. And if you're on the Bitcoin standard, you really are someone who just holds the Bitcoin and stays with the Bitcoin. When you leave the Bitcoin, you can't go anywhere but fiat standard, Robin. I mean, whether you go into real estate or stocks, whatever, it's either Bitcoin standard and it's Bitcoin, or it's fiat current, or it's fiat standard, everything else. So it is pure to be on the Bitcoin standard. I do want to add a nuance to that, though, with the wider picture. I don't think right now in the world, the way it's going, that being rich, I think, means nothing in terms of financially rich. It's a dying world. It's a dying society. It's a collapsing world, right? This happens. These things happen. I love the book Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. I love this YouTube channel called Predictive History by this man named Professor Zhang. These are guys who have looked at 10,000 civilizations. They've looked at all of human history, and they've just noticed that humans spiral upwards, right? We're always climbing, but there's times where we have downtrends. And right now we are in a time of collapse and downtrend. Hey, get your Bitcoin stack, make your fiat currency, all that good stuff. It's important. I'm not saying it isn't, but what's most important is realizing that I think financial wealth in this world, while important, it's so fleeting because it's all coming to an end. It is. Our lives, even in our lifetime, Robin, will look so different. It's all coming to an end. So it's really like, what's the system that will continue on moving forward, right? Which is, of course, the Bitcoin network, right? So while it's important to increase your stack, have as much Bitcoin as you possibly can and everything else, it is more important to what? Spread the word. This right here, Robin, might be the most significant thing I say, and I need to really dial in on this. So let's take one of the most successful systems, and I'm just being unbiased here and unobjective. It's honestly, this is where I can compare it to Christianity. Okay, Christianity survived 2,000 years. It has survived multiple changing world orders, right? The world has collapsed many times and spiraled upward. Christians are there all the way through. Whether we're not looking at it like through theology or anything, it's just a system that has maintained. The reason that system has maintained for so long was because there was an individual named Paul, right? There was this guy named Paul where after Jesus' time, Paul saw this opportunity to create this system that could essentially last the test of time. And what he did and focused on was essentially zealot word spreading, zealot education, zealot getting the word out. This was a guy who was like rolling into places around the world and pushing Christianity so hard that they were like stripping him butt naked and whipping him and stoning him and getting ready to kill him. And while it was happening, he was saying, "Thank you, I'm doing it for the," like that's how zealot he was in spreading the word. And it worked. The people were like, "My God, look at this maniac." Like, no, we'll be on board with you then, man. I know that's an extreme example, but the point I'm trying to make is the world we live in is collapsing. All these systems are going away. You could have all the mansions and all the rows of cars, and God bless you if you do. I'm not condemning you. It's all fleeting. It's all pointless when all of this comes crashing down. What will survive is the systems that we educate people on that have the ability to withstand the test of time. And the reason, and they can't be ambiguous and they can't be vague. Christianity has lasted so long because there's nothing vague about it, right? Paul rolls in and says, listen, this is guy's the son of God. When you die, you go to heaven. You believe in it's so convicted. It's so not vague. It's so just boom, boom, boom. It's salability, right? He's hitting all the marks. So he knows the system's going to survive because it has conviction and it's a closed loop. It's done. That's Bitcoin. That's Bitcoin right now. It's like we have to educate people from. I get that not everybody can be zealot about it, but in reality, it needs as many zealots as it can have. People who are like Paul, who are like, no, 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 no. This is the money. This is the perfect money. Here's the reason why. There's nothing vague about it. There's nothing ambiguous about it. Perfect money for this reason, this reason, this reason. It's very easy to explain. And everyone needs to know that this exists, and everyone needs to start to transition towards this system because this is going to be the system moving forward that we use for money. Period. Amen. Everything else is garbage. Everything else is degeneracy. And just be perfectly clear about that. And that is what keeps Bitcoin going moving forward, far beyond our lifetimes, our children's lifetimes. This is what, imagine 1,000 years from now when people are paying in Satoshis or whatever. It's like, damn, we're the guys at the beginning, Robin. We're literally like the people who, if Nakamoto was Jesus, right, and now he's gone, we're like the disciples going forth into the world and straight up like willing to just be like, yeah, this whole system is garbage, man. This is all like collapsing. This is the money. And just being so convicted in it. That's Bitcoin, man. And that's a true Bitcoiner, regardless of where you're at in the process. Just as soon as you understand it, you get it and you vouch for it, right? And you become a Bitcoiner. Yes, this is the way. This is the truth. This is what we do moving forward. That's more important than any stack. That's more, I think my greatest accomplishment in Bitcoin, Robin, is I go at times on a full just zealot education spree. And if I can get one person, two people, three people just to go, man, that's interesting. I'm going to read that book or I'm going to think more about this. It's like, damn, I got one. I created another Bitcoiner. I got another Bitcoiner here. I got another Bitcoiner here, right? The whole pay it forward system. And it's beautiful and it's noble because it all comes back down to human flourishing. So we know we're being noble because if perfect money is the prerequisite for human flourishing, and you're going around and being a disciple for perfect money, you're being a disciple for human flourishing. And that's as righteous as it gets. And you don't have to die to get that. You can do that here and now. And that legacy will outlive all of us.
And it's a peaceful revolution, as you said. Like, you don't have to do anything bad for that. And it's interesting because I've never compared the lifespan of Christianity to a potential lifespan of Bitcoin. That's a fascinating comparison because it has so many aspects of it. Like, we come together on Bitcoin meetups. We are very religious about what Bitcoin actually is. And I think it would not work as money if it didn't have those aspects. You need
100%.
true believers. You need people that stay their ground. There was a recently an old friend of mine here, and he was like, "Oh, like Bitcoin doesn't work because of this and that, and you're just so religious about it." And I'm like, okay, like, what does work? Like, fiat clearly can't be the thing. And he talked about Monero, and I was like, okay,
Of course.
the like, fine, but like, why are you so in Monero? And he's like, oh, here X was that, here X was that reason. And then I asked him a very simple question, and he almost got offended by it. I'm like, don't mention any specific numbers, but like, how much are you into Monero? Like, how much do you hold? He's like, I don't hold anything in Monero. So I'm like, so you're not for Monero, clearly. like if you would be for Monero, you wouldn't have money in Monero. And that's literally every single person that tells me about some shitcoin, because they're like, they are, for some reason, they think there's something wrong with Bitcoin because they missed it, and then they wanna tell you about some shitcoin they found, but they don't have the conviction to be even in there. Like, if you are 100% into Dogecoin and you really believe that and you ride it till the end, I respect that. I think you're an idiot, but I respect your idiocracy. As like, 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 I respect the hell out of you. But if you come around and say like, oh, like, I believe in that XRC coin, but I don't hold anything of it, like okay, if you don't go 100% in, okay, but like at least 50%. If you have a very strong conviction about something, wouldn't you want to benefit from it, or wouldn't you want to be in it? Like, like, how can I trust your opinion if you don't hold it yourself? What, like, if I buy Monero because of you and you don't hold it and I get wrecked, like, what? That does not make sense. And so I think often Bitcoiners get attacked because they're so religious and so strong and they are 100% in. And people even come to me and say, you're just talking about Bitcoin so positively because you own a bunch. No, you got it reversed. I own a bunch because I believe in it so heavily. It's not because I own so much that I believe in it. Like, the believing and the conviction and the education comes before the owning, obviously. Like, I'm not like, yeah, just like buy 100% of Bitcoin. Oh wait, what is it even? Like, I'm not like, I'm not stupid. And so I think so this is what I thought about with your point about Christianity. If you don't have people that 100% believe in it, no matter how often they get attacked, no matter how often they get ridiculed or get made jokes about, or, I mean, we don't have that in Bitcoin, but like, get thrown stones at it, get thrown in, like, those things in with Christianity that we had in history. I think if you don't have those people, you don't have what it takes to overthrow this fiat system. And we need those people. And yeah, that's I think all I have to say. I think it's very important to stand up for something and like, stay your ground, like, here and not more, like, all those things.
Man, 100%, Robin. And you know what? You made so many good points there. And you know what? In a way, we do get stones thrown at us because the modern form of stones is slander and social media and guys like, Peter Schiff on X, right? I mean, truly, we are persecuted as Bitcoiners. And like you said, here's the thing, the world is so soft now where, oh, you can't have an argument, or you got to be well liked and everything. Like, again, for systems to be overthrown and have another system replace it. God, man, I love the New Testament is just so filled with wisdom, and it so pertains to things like what we're doing here when you're 100% convicted behind something, because it so often mentions the early Christians and just encouraging them that you're literally going to be slaughtered for righteousness, like what they believe is righteousness, right? You know what you're doing is right, and you're going to get nothing but hate and discontent for it. Revel in it, like revel in it, rejoice in it, because what does it mean to be like, say you do something wrong and you get punished? Like, there's no, you did something wrong and you got punished for it. There's no real righteousness in that. But what if you're doing something right and you're getting punished for it? That's righteousness. That's when you rejoice. That's where you get that deep conviction. So I actually enjoy now when I get into heated, and I don't like to argue. I just like to know the facts and win the debate and be so convicted that even when you're throwing stones at me, like you mentioned all these altcoins, right? This is why the Bitcoin standard is so important to read, because it gives you such solid fundamentals. When you understand salability, and just if you understand these two things, salability, that scales space and time, makes perfect money, and then you under stock to flow ratio, right? It's as simple as essentially how much of something do you have, and then how much is flowing into it. And if you already have this stock and very little is flowing into it, that's very valuable. Like, that's again perfect money, which Bitcoin's perfect money, because in 100 years there's literally zero flow. It's like unbelievable how this whole thing was thought up. When somebody brings up anything else, right? Whether it's gold, whether it's Monero, XRP, fiat, right? And start making an argument for it, you just go down the list. You go, okay, so what's the scales? What's the space? What's the time? And then you look at what's the stock and what's the flow. And Robin, I have never been in a, let's call it a debate against any altcoin or any other monetary system where I finally just ran into something and I go, there it is, right? Like, somebody brings up an altcoin, first thing I check, I go, does it have proof of work? That wipes out 99% of them, right? They don't have proof of work. They don't have any mining system that's actually protecting it and making it basically immutable, right? So boom, that wipes out like 99%. There is a few actually, like Dogecoin, I believe is still proof of work. So it's like, okay, all right, I'll give you that, Dogecoiners. But then what do? You go to the stock to flow. Okay, does it have a cap on how many Dogecoins you can create? And the answer is no. Boom, gotcha. You never will lose with Bitcoin because you have something that is, again, it's perfect. It is when it comes to the um, use case of money. You can't possibly, you can be fully convicted, and if you at least understand the Bitcoin standard, like the actual mechanics of it, man, they can throw stones at you all they want. You're just gonna probably make them angry to the point where they cry, because what happens is they reach a point where they're wrong, and then you just get personally insulted, and then they go away, and then hopefully they think about it, and then hopefully they convert, and then when they convert, you do what? You say, "Welcome, brother. I love you. Thanks for good to have you." Don't ever. That's when you have the humility. This is important to add, because I think as Bitcoiners, you can fail to have humility. It's when you finally get that brother and sister that comes back, says, I want to know more. Yes, you were right. You say, no, I'm not right. It's Bitcoin that's right. I'm just the disciple, man. It's the Bitcoin that's the guy. And before we run out of time, Robin, I did want to diss on gold, because gold has made an awesome run in the last year. You got guys like, of course, Peter Schiff and all these gold bugs, and this big push that everything should be on the gold standard again and tie everything back into gold. Here's the thing. Every civilization on the gold standard collapses, because gold inevitably is indeed time and stores value, but because it has no divisibility and because you can't transport it easily, it has to be custodianed. So inevitably, you have to custodian it and then issue some type of fiat currency on it. And then now you have what? You've lost the trust, because you have to rely on trust. It's a trust. It's a system of trust that will always fail. And in fact, this is also probably the most important point I can make today is, if the gold standard wins out, Robin, it would be in my opinion, devastating for civilization, because what happens on the gold standard, and this is explained in the Bitcoin standard, is you get about 40 years of sound monetary systems, because you have a people trust the gold standard for about 30, 40 years. This happened in 1871 to 1914, interestingly enough. The world was on a gold standard. Civilization thrived roughly from 1871 to 1914. Then what happens? Eventually, because people get complacent, the plebs, right? That the people who control the gold and the money behind the gold, the fiat, they start running that printer and they start fractional reserve banking. And then you had what? World War One, World War Two, right? The 70s, where you finally just disconnect from you get about 120-year cycles, but these gold cycles where 40 years is flourishing and 80 years is devastating. It happened in China in 1260. The Yuan dynasty did their gold standard and it ended up collapsing, right? The children were also, and it always ends in one thing. The gold standard always ends in children sold into debt slavery. That is the sentence everyone needs to remember. The gold standard always always ends in children sold into debt slavery every time. So that's why, and I'm just loving dissing on Peter Schiff. When he's dissing on Bitcoin and promoting gold, he might be just ignorant or he's trolling. But either way, for anyone who is thinking that they're righteous or that their intentions are good for wanting society to go on a gold standard, whether they know it or not, they're condemning civilization to be in the same cycle for about 120 years. It's literally devastating. Gold is growth limiting. There's just the evidence is done. We've done it. It was the best when there wasn't Bitcoin. I know there's people out there who are Bitcoiners that are in the financial industry that have to deal in gold for their clients. If you're just a disciple of Bitcoin and you don't need to be involved in any gold away, I'm here to throw stones at it. I'm here to call it bad names. And to me, it's just another altcoin that when I go down the list fails against Bitcoin 100%. This is the long game, Robin. This is disciples setting up the thousands and 10,000s of years of society for our grandchildren and the people after us that will have beautiful, flourishing lives. Dude, our lives are going to be brutal, Robin. It's just the truth. They are. We're in a time of collapse. Your whole life and my whole life will be the time of Jesus. Just war, collapse, pain, suffering. But that's when change happens. That's when opportunities happen. That's when systems improve once old systems collapse. And this is now just my religious belief. We're all here choosing to be here in a time when we choose to be here. So we're all going to play our part in it. And to play the part of a Bitcoiner, man, a true disciple, setting up this system, educating people on it and getting behind it 100%. It's my opinion that's a righteous life. And I can do a lot better. It's a call to arms for me to do a lot better. But damn, that fiat currency, man, that fiat standard, once it infects you, it's like a virus. It makes you sick. And I'm still working on curing my sickness.
The times where strong men are forged. It's, I think, about to come. We have way too soft of a society. People don't want to take responsibility. People are just asleep, and it's time, as Bram Constant just said it in the previous podcast that was launched, this one, wake the F up. Like, it's super important to do that now. But yeah, it's been another amazing time. I don't even know if we did it now like 2, 3, or 4 times. It's been amazing always to talk with you. So thank you so much for being so gracious with your time and with your insights. As you might know from the previous conversations, we have an end routine in the podcast where the previous guest is asking a question for the next guest without knowing who the next guest actually is. And the previous guest asked you the question, what is your spiciest take on Bitcoin that you think most won't agree with?
Oh, man, absolutely. And I think this was the perfect podcast for it, right? Because the spiciest take is truly when I talked about Paul, the apostle, right? For Christianity. I mean, a guy literally going around, walking into towns, telling everybody, I don't care what you believe in, it's wrong. This is what's right. And let's get started, baby. Get those stones loaded up, strip me down butt naked and start whipping me. because I'm just gonna sit here and just sound off my conviction on what is right. Robin's like, oh my god, is this episode even gonna get like banned by YouTube?
The first thing that every Bitcoiner does, and the most important activity that every Bitcoiner keeps on doing, is buying Bitcoin. And I personally use Relay to buy and sometimes also spend or sell my Bitcoin. And there are two main reasons why I do so. The first one is it's Bitcoin only. They do not do any shit coins. They do not do any cryptos, any stocks, or anything else. This is a tool, an app that is fully focused only and solely on Bitcoin. The second one is self-custody. They give you the keys to your Bitcoin the moment you buy them. You never give them the control over your Bitcoin, and you don't have to trust them because you can verify that you and only you have the keys to your Bitcoin. There's no third-party risk. There's no freezing of your assets. There's no rug pulling. There's nothing of that. Download Relay, the app, on your phone, or go to relay.app on your browser and use code Robin to save fees and get cheaper Bitcoin. I want to tell you about something very special to me. It's called micro seed. If you hold your Bitcoin in self-custody, and you should, you know how critical it is to secure your seed phrase. You should not have them on paper. You should not have them on anything else than titanium. With micro seed, you can engrave your 12 or 24 word seed phrase, the entire seed phrase, onto a 1-inch small washer. Yes, just one washer. All 24 words on that one washer. You can hide that thing everywhere. And even better, you don't need to buy a new kit every time you have to get a new wallet. You can make unlimited backups because MicroSeed is not selling the washer. MicroSeed is selling the device that stamps the washer. So you get the full kit with the device, with the washers, with the hammer, with everything you need to get started today. And you can make with that unlimited amount of backups. Go now to microseed.io.